Today we're comparing two of the most popular entry-level travel options, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card and the Capital One Venture Rewards Credit Card. We'll look at 4 factors, including the effective annual fee, multipliers, how the programs compare, and travel benefits. Big favor before we dive into everything though is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. Let's start with the effective annual fee. With the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card, you have a $95 annual fee, but you also have a credit of up to $50 annually for Chase Travel hotels. This is for any hotel booking through Chase Travel, so you have a ton of flexibility. I would double check prices and discount if needed. If you do at least one trip a year, you're looking at an effective annual fee between about $45 and $60, which isn't bad. The Venture is a little tricky. The Capital One Venture has the same $95 annual fee, but I'd argue that it doesn't directly have any credits. With the marketing, you might see up to $50 as an experience credit for lifestyle collection stays. This isn't really a one-time thing that's tied to the card though, and more of a perk you get for booking through their portal, along with perks like upgrades, early check-in, and late checkout. It's also unlimited use, and the experience credit is tied to the hotel. So instead of a statement credit on your card, it might be $50 you need to spend on food or a spa treatment. Most other portals offer similar credits, so it feels tough to value. For example, through Cardonomics, depending on hotels, you might get a $50 credit as well, and that's also unlimited use. For the most part, you want to isolate for things related to the card. Multipliers are where it starts to get more interesting. Also a section I'd be careful with. For Chase, you're getting 5x on all travel through Chase Travel. For the Venture, it's 5x on hotels, vacation rentals, and rental cars through Capital One Travel. So you do have a bit more upside with Chase. Capital One does have a pretty solid price match guarantee though, where they give you a travel credit for the price difference. It does have to be within 24 hours of the original booking though. For online grocery purchases, select streaming and dining, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card comes out ahead at 3x instead of 2x. For travel, it's the same multiplier, and for everything else, the Venture wins. One thing to consider here is opportunity cost. If you can get the same multipliers from one of your no annual fee cards, especially if it is still flexible points, then arguably it doesn't matter here. Unless you're running a one card setup, you're looking for value that's above replacement. Given this, I'd argue that your spend doesn't really matter here, but your mileage may vary there. Okay, so what do I mean by all of this? Also, where can I get these multipliers? On the Capital One side, you have the Saver, which is no annual fee. You earn 3% cash back at grocery stores, dining, entertainment, and popular streaming. Also 5% cash back on hotels and rental cars through Capital One Travel. With Chase, pretty much the same story. The Chase Freedom Unlimited earns 5% for Chase Travel, 3% on dining, 3% for drug stores, and 1.5% on everything else. You might be thinking, well, that's cash back and not points or miles. And you're right. I'd argue that the main value prop of the two travel cards is unlocking for upside. With the Saver, you earn cash back. With the Venture or Venture X, you can turn this cash back into miles and then transfer to partners. Same idea of Chase, the cash back that you earn is technically points. This is true for a lot of their personal cards and also business ones. The Chase Sapphire Preferred Card is the lowest annual fee personal card that opens the door for your other cards. With that said, just because you can, doesn't mean you should. For example, with Capital One, their miles actually have less value towards cash back. That means that it only makes sense to do this if you want to transfer to partners and not in any other circumstance. It's also a one-way street, so be careful. With Chase, there's some potentially interesting ones in the middle, but I think the main draw is still transferring to partners. If this is a foreign concept, what we're doing is taking the bank currency and then transferring them into a partner currency. Ideally one with a competitive award chart, but yeah, this is how normal people you know are flying first in business class without destroying their savings accounts. For airlines, you have a bunch of options. The ones I'd consider are Airline for Star Alliance, Flying Blue for SkyTeam, BA and Qantas for One World, Virgin for ANA first in business class to Japan, and then specific programs if you want to fly there first in business classes. For example, Emirates or Singapore for Emirates or Singapore. This is a giant rabbit hole, so don't worry if it sounds confusing. If you're interested, I can send an email with a cheat sheet, and I'll link that down below. One we did recently was Finnair's no recline seat, which would run you $62.5K. Depending on program, the fees can add up, so here it's $149, but math is still pretty solid. So for example, here you might be turning $774 in cash back from the Saver into 77.4K miles, which would cover this business class flight and the fees. It depends on you obviously, but it's a pretty good unlock in my book. Also, even if you're not familiar with a program, there might still be a ton of value. For example, US to Istanbul for 65K in business isn't bad at all. Along with airlines, you can also transfer to hotels. To me, Hyatt is the only worthwhile transfer option, especially since it might work for economic along with super premium hotels. Yeah, if you want to upgrade your travel without upgrading your budget, points and miles are the best way to do it if you are willing to do some homework and be flexible. On a side note, if you want to learn about either of these cards and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive and that the cards make sense for you, but otherwise it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. The one other area that can help you recoup value are the travel benefits. Here there's two sections, credits and insurance. For the Capital One Venture Rewards credit card, you get up to $120 as a credit every 4 years for global entry or TSA pre-check application fees. With the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card, you don't get this. Insurances have a lot of terms, so I definitely double check, but let's go over them in broad strokes. One of the most tangible ones is primary CDW, collision damage waiver. So when you travel and rent a car, you need insurance. For liability, you might already have it, or you need to buy it. Another one though is collision damage waiver, so CDW. Many cards come with secondary CDW, which means that your own insurance gets hit first before going to secondary, which can increase your insurance rates. Primary means that it hits at first before hitting your insurance. The higher annual fee Venture X card comes with primary coverage, the standard Venture comes with secondary coverage. On the other hand, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card comes with primary. This means you can turn down their $15 to $30 per day coverage and not risk your personal insurance premiums going up. If you don't rent cars when you travel, then it's a non-factor, but for a lot of people, this feature itself can make the card more than worth it. Looking at other more common travel insurances, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card either offers higher coverage, for example, with trip cancellation or interruption and lost and damaged luggage, or just offers coverage that the Venture doesn't, for example, of trip delay reimbursement or baggage delay insurance. On an annual fee basis, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card tends to hit above its weight class for travel insurances. Overall, I think you can make arguments for both cards. I think the effective annual fee is a bit easier with the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card. Multipliers can go both ways, but I like the Capital One Dual a bit better. Chase has the edge on system since their transfer partners are a tad bit better. Travel benefits are a toss-up depending on your focus. But yeah, I don't think you could go wrong with either. Obviously, make sure the math works. If you want to run the numbers, search CSP worth it AskSebby or Venture worth it AskSebby and it should pop up. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. As always, means a ton. And if you're curious, all legal affiliate disclosures can also be found below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a gem emoji if you're on Team Chase and a boomerang one if you're on Team Capital One, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions: which card do you like better, who has better transfer partners, and which system or setup do you prefer? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favorite thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.